Welcome back to the show, everyone. Craig and Jonah. If I look like I overslept this morning, it's because I did. I flew here about 5 minutes ago. Um, so I'm doing one of these. I'm trying to prep myself for a really big 2024 with just kind of all the stuff in my life. There's just only so much of old Craig to go around. So I'm having to piece it out strategically.
Yeah. So how
Wait,
many hours of sleep did you get last night?
well, I was scheduled to get about 6. I think I got like 7.
Okay. Well,
Um,
yeah, I
but
think I need about 7. Then I'm pretty good.
well, I have this theory. My everybody likes to brag about what time they wake up, but my wake up time's 4:30. Um, and I have a very so 4:35 technically, and then I have very specific alarms on my phone that go off at 5, 5:15, 5:30, 5:45, 6.
So you slept through all those this morning?
Well, the only one that makes noise is the 4:30 one.
Oh.
Because I have a wife and generally 2 children in the vicinity
Mm-hmm.
of it. And my wife doesn't like to hear my alarm.
I believe that.
She really doesn't like it when the toddler hears the alarm.
I believe that too.
So the rest of them are all just silent. My phone just starts vibrating, which doesn't do a lot of good if I'm still sleeping.
Yeah.
It does fine if I'm out and about. So and it's been last couple times. It's happened 2 or 3 times in the last week. I love it when it works, but if I miss that first one, man, I really keep sleeping. But so one of the consequences, I guess, if you will, is I'm really tired at night.
Yeah.
PMAS is worse at night. A lot of times I'm too tired to be too giving too much attention to it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that the cure for you guys? Just get yourself so damn tired that I don't know. For me, it's terrible at night. I don't really notice it so much during the day.
Yeah.
To the point where I don't know. I even on nights that the no fly list comes down, it's I have sometimes I'm tired.
Yeah.
So
Wow. You are tired then.
yeah, just to put it in perspective.
Yeah. You must be on the verge of death.
Yeah,
Might want to check your vitals.
yeah. So that worried me a little bit. But so I don't know. And maybe I've actually thought about that in the past, and I've tried it. Is just to get myself so dang tired that by the time that witching hour rolls around, I'm asleep before the devil starts to come out and wander around in my mind.
It's a good strategy. Nothing wrong with that.
No, so and now,
If you can do it.
yeah, if you can do it, if you don't want to be oversleeping through your podcast. So sorry about that Jonah.
No problem. I was going to research some stuff. My phone battery's at 1% while I was sitting there. So, well, I should wait to see if you.
Oh,
Anyways,
I said, give me 10 minutes. I'll be there in 10 minutes. It was probably 15 minutes, but
that's okay. What do you know what soccer and cornflakes have in common?
no.
They were both invented to try to stop masturbation. The soccer thing I learned from Ted Lasso, but I looked it up and it is true. So back in the Victorian era, the headmasters of the school wanted to keep the boys from masturbating, so they thought they'd play a game where they couldn't use their hands. I'm not sure how effective that is. Or soccer players exhibit more self-control, more self-mastery, but I kind of doubt it.
Makes sense that we Americans have baseball and American football. We use our hands badly.
Some balls involved, basketball. Yeah.
That's right.
And then cornflakes.
I'd heard about the cornflakes.
They were invented by Kellogg. He believed that if you had basically too many fats and salts and sugars in your diet, that those kinds of things produce sex drive. And so he thought if he'd create this bland cereal, it would at least slow down people from masturbating. I think they tried it out in whatchamacallit kind of places, mental institutions. They tried it out there first, see if that would work. And I don't. I kind of doubt it had an impact there either. I mean,
The efforts that people will go through
yeah,
to overcome this little dastardly presence in their life.
yep, yeah. And then I sent you that article too on all the various torture devices they developed over the years
Yeah.
to prevent, nocturnal emissions, erections in your sleep. Painful looking stuff.
You know, I'm gonna slip on my little heretic hat here for a moment. Just speculative theology.
Yeah.
You know, if the devil really wanted to torture people and cause them to despair in God's mercy,
This is sounding heretic like.
yeah, he could convince them that, you know what, let's make masturbation wrong. They'll never be able to do it, and they'll drive themselves crazy trying.
And they drive themselves to despair.
Yeah.
And they push themselves away from God.
It's
well, I mean,
it's not the worst theory in the world.
That's a solid point. I can't even argue with that really, because it's true. Well,
we had our red pill buddy the other day. We haven't released that episode, and we may not, but we were talking about this guy that I had a conversation with who's in the St. Pius X Society, and I messaged him about getting one of his Pius X priests to come on and talk to us. He's like, I'll go talk to him. Yeah, they said they're not going to do that. Said I'm not surprised. I'm not. It has to be approved either.
They have their own bureaucracy.
Well, he said it has to be a SSPX platform or some other pre-approved thing.
We're not pre-approved? You'd think we'd be in that pre-approved
I have to
kind of
think
lane.
the subject matter maybe had something to do with it.
Yeah, I believe that too. So yeah, it takes balls to get on here and talk.
Yeah. I'm just gonna, since they're not here to explain themselves, I'm just gonna take it. They just didn't think they could hold up under the pressure.
Yep, sounds like it.
Uncharted Catholic Man 1. SSPX is 0.
We'll take on we'll bring on any takers.
We're taking on the schismatics. One episode at a time.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if they would be. I suppose they're ultra traditional, so they might even be even more squeamish than the average Catholic on that.
Except that I would have expected to come in and just be like very confident, say, this church teaches it's a mortal sin. Get your hands off yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
cut them off if you got to.
Yeah, without any emotion or whatever. But those guys all have their own problems too, I'm sure.
Well, yeah, I doubt they're immune.
Maybe they still got some of those old torture devices around.
That's true. Yeah, if you whip yourself and put this on your penis while you sleep, you'll be good.
It's been all downhill since we started strapping chains onto the old wiener at night.
Yeah.
Look at us now.
Just true examples of self-mastery.
I was listening to one of our favorite podcasts the other day, and I think I messaged you about it, but she's talking about all these women primarily that write to her and they're saying, I'm listening to your podcast, I'm doing the things that you recommend, and it's still terrible. And I'm thinking, yeah, I wonder why.
Yep. Once you tell your husband that he isn't going to die from not having sex,
yeah,
it's just not going to go well.
Yeah. I can't imagine why that plan didn't work out good.
Yep. You know why? Your husband is just sitting there suffering day after day after day, and you think he's just supposed to be happy?
Yeah. I don't know. They say everything happens for a reason, and what they always say, but sometimes it's because you're stupid. You do dumb things. Right?
Boy, that's funny.
They were going on to say, and I don't want to make too light. I don't want to make too light at this point, but they're like, marriage is under attack by the devil, and if your marriage is really struggling, that just shows that God is, or that the devil is trying to take you down. And maybe so.
I get that, but I don't really like to bring that into the conversation because who really knows? I mean, once you start thinking that way, the devil is everywhere around you, and
I think that can be a cop out for us Catholics. Like, clearly, it can't be that our way of looking at things is has any room for improvement. It's got to be the devil making my life miserable. Um,
yeah.
I used to think that way, and the more older I get, the less satisfied I am with that. And I think, I don't know. I mean,
It could be the devil, or you could just be bitchy.
Yeah, devil made me do it. It it does feel like that whole concept can be an excuse for ongoing poor behavior.
That's true.
Both
Yeah.
both spouses, but I just couldn't help but notice the irony of that.
Yeah. That is funny.
So yeah. So we're approaching 200 episodes. We've been doing this for close to a year now.
Yep. 9 months.
Oh,
It was March.
No, I think our first episode was in February, wasn't it?
Mm.
Okay. Well, we've been chatting. I had been pestering. I had been pursuing Jonah pretty heavily about this time. He's like, "Get to do a podcast."
Here we are.
He finally relented. But Jonah, you like to go onto the YouTube and you dig into the comments of these just very miserable people. I don't know why you do that.
Just curiosity. I just feel just like the sadness I feel. I don't know. It's kind of like watching a sad movie, because I know how they feel, and it can be overcome, but it's painful, and you just have to be lucky in some respects. I don't know, but we're talking about what are the videos called? The Happy Wife School. If you haven't watched any of her videos, but just watch them, but then also look at the comments, especially if you're a woman, because you can see the true despair that's going on as these men comment on how just terrible their marriages are and there's nothing they can do. And, the Happy Wife School is what that's all about, is that a lot of, for whatever reason, the wife does tend to steer the entire marriage as far as happiness goes, and the happiness of the family, the happiness of the husband. And if it's not going well, there isn't much anybody can do. And she just talks about those kinds of issues, and she has great videos. And just the despair going on with the men in the comments is worth reading. Sometimes they're funny because they're true. Most of the time, they're just terribly sad of guys that have suffered for like 50 years through their marriage, and now their wife is dying, and they need to take care of her, and they just wish that they had seen these videos like 50 years ago.
There seems, I sent one of those videos to my wife.
How'd that go?
I don't know. She never responded one way or another, so I'm still alive.
And it's funny because I don't know what the problem is. I think nobody wants to hear that it's all their fault, but you think if it was all your fault and you could fix it, you might want to.
Most guys are used to being told it's our fault
every day. And that's really what she talks about. Is like, she's like, if you're in a marriage where you can't put the dishes in the dishwasher right, or fold laundry right, or sweep the floor right, or whatever, like, just watch this video. And that's basically what she said.
And she's not even so much like,
she's not scolding anybody.
Like I think her perspective, whether you agree with it or not, is that a lot of ladies do this sort of unknowingly or unwittingly.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the tragedy of the whole thing. Is not even like, I think, and I'm in a Facebook group that's sort of full of people that are in these situations, and it feels a lot of times like it's two good people who genuinely love each other are unaware of how much harm or whatever they're causing their spouse. Like, and And I think that maybe is why it prolongs so much, because I think most of us with a conscience, if we're just a real jackass to our spouse, kind of eventually realize that. But if you are not being malicious at all, you certainly feel like you're in the right. You're not all looking for someone to tell you that, oh, by the way, there's some things you could change. Like that's
Well, and so that's the video that I sent last night was just really depressing. But it's signs a man is unhappy in his marriage. And so some of the signs include things like drinking alcohol or working long hours, being more focused on their job than they are their family, stuff like that. And she said, now I know the first reaction to pretty much any woman that hears this is that, it's not me. There are other reasons for my husband doing this. And she's like, but the reality is that it's you. And she talked about how these are all things that she had to realize in her own marriage. Like she would scream at her husband and emasculate him all the time. And she's figured out that that was harmful to their marriage and why the mental reasons behind why she was doing it. And she said once she started, behaving in that way, their marriage totally changed, which, you can see how that would happen. And you just, happy for her husband that not only she figured it out, but then she's going to help other, marriages as well.
yeah. I mean, I would say in our marriage, um, my wife sort of being aware of some of this stuff totally changed things. Like that was the key to unlocking what's really an amazing marriage right now.
And I would say that that stuff is common in any marriage to some degree,
Mhm.
like the comments or,
Mhm.
and, that the stuff is going to happen. But there's a difference between being aware of it and just, you know, being totally unaware and using those kinds of phrases or tactics all the time.
Yeah, some of I don't I I think a lot of I don't want to use generalities here, but I think there's a lot of wives that don't necessarily understand how hurtful little things
Mm-hmm.
come across, and I'm sure they say the same thing. I mean, it probably.
Oh, sure.
I think
I get that.
I
That goes
think
both
that's the
ways.
main. I think that's the big trap in marriages is the little slights, and like I said, a lot of times they're not malicious. I'm trying to like needle you or anything. It's just
Sometimes it is probably.
I definitely. I mean, I can confidently I don't do that crap purposely
Yeah.
anyway, but it
Yeah.
happens.
It can be a death by 1,000 haircuts.
Yeah. That I think is the bigger problem is that's how a lot of marriages really begin to suffer because it's a little bit at a time over time
Mm-hmm.
and by the time you start losing enough blood, you're so far into this that you're like, how do we the despair sets in.
Mm-hmm.
Um and I think this is kind of going back to the whole offered up the suffering is good sort of thing. I think this is a big threat to marriages or one or both spouses are really good people because good people take a lot of crap. Good people um carry a lot of crosses because without rather than going and taking a chance of hurting their spouse.
Mm-hmm.
Um so the quote and she talks a lot about how many good men just have their lives destroyed basically because they're in these marriages and I think in part because they're good men, they don't push back sooner.
Mm-hmm.
The crappy men, I don't know, they get divorced sooner, but the good men stick it out into to really difficult marriages for a long time. I think because they're good men.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I've seen some of the best men I've ever met in my life were married to some of the biggest battle axes I've ever seen. Like I just lady, do you not see this guy he is the most amazing man, and you are just the crabbiest person I've ever seen.
Yeah, yeah. Once it like, especially it's tough when you see like a good guy and his wife talk shit about him in
Mhm,
public or whatever. Like, I mean,
mhm.
that is just so emasculating and just difficult that you just feel bad for him.
Yeah.
And it makes her look bad. Like she's the one that looks bad in that situation, which is funny. It's not him. Like, it's not him at all.
And she's unaware. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're in that situation and you're married to a good guy, he's just taking it rather than telling you you're full of crap sometimes. You're not
Yep.
you're used to having your behavior reinforced even if it's passively, like, right?
Yep.
You know, that's sort of the whole phenomenon of rich and powerful people that are complete idiots because they're surrounded by yes men. No
Yeah.
one dare, you know.
Nobody dares gets out of line. Yeah.
So I think that's a trap. You know, if you're in a marriage in Europe, married to a really good person, you can go, you can you can be doing a lot of destructive stuff to your marriage and not even know it because they're just too good to call you out on, I think. So
Yeah, and then you wonder if it's good or weak. I don't know. I think that you're just avoid conflict, maybe, like the good people do.
yeah, and I mean, I think it can be a fault, and I'm not here to say I'm one of the good guys, but I'm better than some.
Not the worst.
Yeah, I mean, 7 billion people on the planet, or whatever. There's got to be a handful that are below me. Um, but yeah,
So that's the Happy Wives Club. Look for it on YouTube and watch every video you can. It's just interesting. Like I learn a lot from it, honestly.
yeah, I would love to get her. I would love to get her on the show, but I do want to say, and we say this a lot. We're having more and more women and hopefully wives listening to the show, and that is outstanding because, like I said, I could send you can send videos of the happy wife lady to your spouse, but till they watch it and until it sets in, you're just kind of spitting into the wind a little bit.
Well, there was one comment where the guy said that he sent the video to his wife, and it was about something about how important sex is to men. And he said that she watched it for about a minute and got mad, turned it off, and started screaming at him. And then they went to counseling or whatever. They're going through counseling. And so the wife decided to play the video during counseling. And the counselor said, turn it off right now. Like they didn't want to listen to it. And it was also a woman counselor. But that guy is in serious trouble. No, see, I feel bad for him. I don't know why it's that controversial for her to say this, but those sorts of things. But she's just speaking the truth. All of it makes sense to me. I'll say that.
Yeah. I don't know. It seems to be a very common phenomenon, and for a long time, I felt like there was no hope for me to be able to communicate some of these things to my spouse, to the point where I was like, "Let's do a podcast, Jonah, and warn the rest of them.
Warn every young man out there,
Stay away! Don't do this."
Well, marriage is a challenge.
Oh yeah, even when it's going good, it's not easy.
No,
But I don't know.
you could be married to a woman that looked like Britney Spears. Well, I'm just an old dated reference, whoever it is, but act like Mother Teresa, and it would be really tough.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no easy marriage. Anybody that tells you otherwise is full of crap.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see how many people fit into the category of a really happy marriage, and I put myself in that category now. I mean, like I said, I always say we had a good marriage, but not a great marriage. And now I feel like we have a great marriage, and while it's not without wrinkle here and there, I feel this part of my life feels like a strength, not something I endure. I don't think there's a lot of people that can relate to that.
Yeah. So when I talk,
Excuse me.
bring up marriage topics in other aspects of my life with other people, and people get real uncomfortable about it. And I don't know why. I mean, I'm sure that they just don't want to talk about it. They don't think that they should talk about issues in their marriage or whatever.
Well, that's the major barrier because no one likes to get out and and share the fact that I feel miserable about my marriage or at my spouse or this part of my marriage. Like, we're in the Instagram filter world where everyone wants to put on this show or appearance of everything's great. I know someone a guest we've had on the show in the past made that comment to me. She's like, "Look at you, Craig," and she knows what I do, and she's like, from someone that doesn't know you, like you've got it all. And like I said, I don't mean to like paint a picture that's too bleak, but inside this part of my life was a was a filled with a lot of misery. But and my wife I know was unhappy, for sure for a long time about some of this stuff. There's a lot of people out there I think that are suffering silently and think this is as good as it gets, or this is just the devil's ways and we got to offer it up.
Holy,
yeah,
just tempting me all the time.
Yeah, this just shows how
puts me
good
in
our
this
marriage
crappy
is.
marriage. Well, I mean that because you could think that way, and if you're thinking like that podcaster thinks.
Yeah, the martyrdom syndrome can really. I don't know. I mean, I can't help it. Jonah and I off the record. I think I don't know, scrupulosity or second thoughts. If you're like, man, things are really good. Should I be worried?
Yeah, I mean, and I made the comment to you the other day. I think that for us, we're lucky that we started the podcast as far as both of our marriages became probably in the top 10% after we figured out ways to communicate with our wives or have difficult conversations. And but if you don't have those conversations, you could be in dire straits for a really long time.
Yeah. So I think there are and we haven't really hidden the fact that what transformed in our marriage is intimacy became better and more frequent. That's been amazing. I don't know if that's a fruit or what brought it about, but it's integral.
It's just part of it, yeah.
And it's made the whole solo stuff not non-existent, but almost a non-issue unless and until you're in some of those long abstinence periods and it's same stuff. But you know, if you have to choose between suffering and offering it up, so to speak, and attributing this pain you're in to whatever, I guess so be it. Or if you want to go out and just take the crucify my flesh approach, I guess go for it. I tried that for a long, long time, and I was both unsuccessful and very miserable in the process. So
yeah, I think we all are with that approach. I mean,
you'll be starting a podcast in about 15 years.
Yeah,
we don't want any competition,
but it can all change and all become a lot better with just communication. I mean,
I'm just offering an alternative path.
And open-minded communication, like both parties have to be willing to accept the ideas that are expressed.
Yeah, I don't know too many people here get to the point where they have truly open conversation that doesn't flare up in our face once in a while. But we're in a much better place now. The stuff that we can talk about and share, and I'll tell you, I like this path better.
Yeah.
I like not having to be such a chronic user of the confessional. Not that the confession's bad, but I like to be able to go there a little more on my own terms sometimes.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this approach is appealing to you, follow the show, share it. We are in the process of starting a mastermind group, which I'm really excited about. This is kind of something I would say sort of what I was hoping to accomplish before the podcast. The podcast kind of became the vehicle to it. But we're going to start doing a monthly mastermind, maybe more frequently than that after we get going. It's going to be early in the morning, so hopefully Craig can wake up, doesn't sleep through his alarms, to accommodate people on the other ends of the earth. but we would love to have men or women. I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know. We won't turn anyone away, but a mastermind where we can really dig in and share stuff that might really help you and your spouse um, improve this area of your life. It deals with a lot of problems, makes your marriage happier, helps with communications, helps with the trips to the confessional type stuff. I mean, it's real. It's great,
Yeah.
and we want to share that with other people. And so we hope other people will tune in and take us up on it, and email us if you'd like to be, maybe be part of that.
Yep. Definitely.
So
We'd love to talk to you.
yeah. Anything else, Jonah?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Well, we packed a bunch in there.
Yep.
So thank you, Jonah. Thank you to everyone for listening. And until next time, everyone,
Bye.
have a good one.